All right, recording started. So let's get these rolls for recap. Oh, we got some in. 12, 14, 7. Go on. Oh, we got an 8. All right then.
Goodbye.
Ariel, lead on.
So last session, we started with Thorbrand and Phineas having a chat and reminiscing after Phineas finally dropped the gun on Ariel. After a few hours, we were recommended some rest. We were taken to some wooden buildings with lots of bunk beds, and we got our long rest. After that, we were told that the job is about looking for 6 individuals. They'll be wearing red outfits and they'll have some sort of brass automatons, I think. Is that what? Did I write it correctly?
Yep.
Auto. I don't know. Okay,
Automata.
okay, good.
Yep.
Okay. And they're en route to a gathering spot that we will recognize apparently. And we were facing this mirror, and we're told to go through the mirror, and we go through the mirror. And for Ariel, at least, it feels like home, and it's really cozy. The rest of you didn't have quite experience. Then we were in the jungle, and there were two paths, one that felt more traveled down and one that was a bit more random. There was a bird creature with colorful plumage perched above the willows, flying away to above a tree. And this is a huge tree that the whole biome can kind of see from anywhere. It's called the Great Realm Tree. And underneath it, it is said that the dragon Yandras the slumbers. So he's a green dragon that lives there. And there's lots of mushroom spores, and we attack them. And we get into a fight with a manticore, and the manticore was pretty difficult to beat, but we managed to best it, and we let it live at the end of the combat. And it told us that we were in its lady's garden, and that's why it attacked us. Of course, we kind of attacked the biome first, so it kind of made sense. And we were told that we need to ask her if we want fruits of her garden. And Thorbrand looks further inside the jungle, and there's this swamp in the distance with a small distant cottage. And that's kind of where we want to get. And as we kind of just looked towards it, and we started hearing voices, and the bridge solidified between us and the location in the swamp. That's all.
So, the party was left sort of on the edge of a small stream that then bordered this swamp-like biome that you were staring into.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said at the end, with one of the final comments, a quib passed by a party member, and the water began to ice over, allowing a pathway for the party to traverse in that direction, whilst several of you being egged on by a phantasmal voice that you could not source or place its location to.
Yeah.
So what does the party do? Finding yourselves on this entrance to an ice bridge leading over a frozen stream,
How
or
likely
do you
is it
turn
that
back?
we're going to find our missing men there?
Your guess is as good as mine.
It was in this direction.
So it's going to be some witch put them into a cauldron and hated them. You think she's going to be nice enough to give us their dog tags?
Oh no, she might offer some. She might offer some. I can't do it today. I'm too tired. She might offer some stew.
Yeah, your voice is finally properly back.
Just a cold. It must be the Fae.
Wait, you have reverse colds?
They call it the Fey fever.
Faith.
All the pollen. It's
Well, I
about
don't
at
have much experience with
this
witches.
point, Torbran, you had sight with a natural 20 on that manticore off in the distance.
Oh, yeah.
You now lose track of where it's gone.
which direction was it moving to?
Towards it was so if we were to picture it into the swamplands,
Mhm.
you saw the manticore, and as you were focused in, I on the tail to spot what it was and realized it. As it moved behind it, you then saw like even further in the distance
Mhm.
the outline of the house.
Which way did it move, left or right?
You don't know. You just know when you go to look back, the manticore is not visible.
Okay.
Um,
A manticore close to what could be a witch's house. That doesn't seem like a coincidence.
it
Do you
literally
think
told us we are in its lady's garden.
Yeah, but who's to
so?
say that? Well, I mean, what was it, Lord of Murder? Who's to say that that's
It
who
was
lives in that
Madame
house?
Malice.
Madame Malice, of course.
Madame Malice.
Well, at least you can give this to the Fae. They're honest with their names.
Do powerful entities live in large castle-like structures? Or are they more subtle here in the Fey realm?
I'm sure a
I
lot of
assume.
people live in the tree.
Well, yeah, but someone who gets the nickname Lord of Murder, is that someone who lives in a little cottage in the wood, or is that someone who lives
It
in...
was Madame Malice, not Lord of Murder. And
But
I'm telling you, it might be a hag of some sort. There are quite a few of them in the Feywild. They are dangerous. But if we need to find those people, we should probably investigate if she took them first.
Oh, what other approaches do we have?
Wander around aimlessly in a place that is very easy to get lost.
And
well,
run into another hag probably. So we might as well do it while we know we're doing it.
how about a final supper before we move towards our what appears to be our inevitable death?
Uh, Eating before battle isn't really good. Not before. You eat the night before, properly.
Ah, you soldiers.
And there's a reason they only gave us soup before an assault. So, gentlemen, shall we?
I guess onwards it is.
Cross the bridge we go.
With a heavy
Before we walk, I will inspect the bridge and maybe
so
tap it with a
this
stick.
bridge is more less, it's not constructed, it is more a a flowing stream has solidified into ice before you.
Right.
So it has
I'd like
created a passable bridge over the
how,
water.
how wide is the creek?
The creek is about 10 feet, maybe 15 feet wide between that. It's not particularly wide, and it doesn't look very deep, but you do notice it's fairly fast flowing, moving.
I'd like to check how rigid this bridge is. It's
Okay,
not something I've encountered. It's not stonework I can inspect, so I would like to make sure I can keep my
describe
footing on
how
it.
you investigate it then, please.
I assume the end of the bridge is on a part of solid land, or is it
It
starting
you're
right at the edge of the water?
just okay. Perhaps I'm not communicating this. An iceberg just appeared in front of you
Right.
in the water.
I will keep one foot on the ground on the edge of the water or on
Mhm.
the edge of the on land, and I will sort of tap with my other foot on the
Okay.
iceberg, slowly putting more weight on it to
Clink,
see if anything
clink,
happens.
clink. Sounds like ice, as you would expect.
Does it move? Is it sturdy enough?
It doesn't give way. There's no cracks. There's the crunching, the sound of a heavy, dense footfall as you put your whole weight on it. Seems
I
fine.
will. I will stand. I will step onto the bridge.
Okay. Torbrun leads forward. Crunch, 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 crunch,
Lothar
crunch,
would follow.
crunch.
Onwards! And I'll follow.
Okay. As the party traverses back, as the individual at the who would be in the rear? Who would be who would at the back?
Is Discord struggling with cameras?
A little bit.
It did a little for me. It was a technical
Yeah.
problem, but I'm good now.
No worries. So who would be traversing this bridge at the end of the troop?
If we keep the same formation, that would be Lothar, but
Mhm.
he seemed eager to follow.
He would stop as soon as he sees that the ice is sturdy enough, and then resume his place as rear guard, essentially.
Okay. So the very second your last foot leaves the bridge, you immediately hear before you just a large crack, like an echoing, not too dissimilar to that of the sound of avalanche, Torbjorn's weapon firing, which sort of startles you for a moment, but you look behind you and the crackling rumbles out as the ice immediately dissipates and splinters off and eventually melts, all in about 6 seconds.
We
As it
should get moving.
resumes one with the stream. As you all immediately sort of look around, you find yourselves in this swampish biome. You can see with a slight strange eerie feel the trees that you previously saw as you are walking through look less like trees closer up. And as you sort of are passing by them, you could swear you could see some kind of contorted facial expressions. As you move on by, you see low plant life. It seems to be spread out almost in like a humanoid pose. These creations, few and far between, though scattered throughout the dense, weeping treetops of this jungle-esque swamp biome hybrid that you are passing through. You hear this rumbling of leaves and then the sound of something landing in water nearby. As peering out from behind one of these trees to your right, Torbjorn, you would immediately be alerted to this. The recognizable face of the manticore comes into view.
The one we shot down earlier, or the one that I saw between the trees?
Have you met many manticores? Do you know their identifiable features?
Bullet holes?
You do see healed, or at least beginning to heal, many sections, many wounds on this creature.
Is that the manticore we just shot down?
It does not approach, but it seems to be walking parallel to you, party.
How
Between the
far
trees.
away roughly?
Keeping about 20 yards between, keeping a tree and 20 yards between the nearest one of you.
Yards, not feet.
Feet, sorry. Feet.
If it wanted to jump us, it wouldn't keep itself visible. This is more a show of strength. You know, like when you're visiting a lord and he sends his men-at-arms to greet you formally.
I know, I don't like traversing unknown terrain while I'm clearly being tracked.
Well, would you prefer it when you weren't clearly being tracked?
We could track a dwarf from his breath in the dark.
Unironically, I prefer to be tracked when I'm unaware, because when an enemy wants you to see that they're tracking you, that tracking is generally the least of your worries.
Oh, this one's smart. Trance, perhaps you should drop it now. And to your left, the manticore being on your right, you see a shimmering into vision about 20 feet on the left-hand side of you, in front of a small humanoid plant-like statue almost. A equally interesting looking, but you deduce is a second manticore, though this one has raven plumage, and instead of a lion's head, more of a black panther. It still has a seemingly second head in its tail, as this one turns around and in a more feminine voice sort of responds, "Oh, you do ruin surprises, don't you?"
I'm not easily surprised.
Not you. Trophy can't keep his mouth shut. And they're just
Well,
sort of escorting you at a distance towards this hut.
Hmm.
As you
I
are,
assume
go on.
you are just bringing us to your lady, I would presume.
Make either an insight check or you can make a perception check if you're looking at this new manticore.
Perception it is 11.
11. You get the impression she's moving in lockstep with you. You sort of slow down your pace. She slows as well. You take a stride forward. She paces to catch with you. But what you do catch is dangling from her neck is a pendant with a very peculiar place at the bottom. Instead of where you would expect some kind of large gem set in a very ornate housing, there's a large ornate housing, but there's this large green lidless eye sat.
Hmm. That's quite the talisman you've got there.
Oh, yes. The lady
What's
does
it
bestow
for?
many gifts.
Gifts, you say? What
Mm.
kind of gift?
Gifts for those who are in need.
hmm. And what's the cost?
Oh, she will have fun with you. You do not know the ways of this land. Who am I to spoil the fun?
Well, I could spoil the fun. I will just look at the rest of the party. We could just turn around right here. Clearly, they seem very keen on getting us to this lady of there.
He's going to point at the ice behind us, which is gone now.
Oh, please. You, at this point, realize that she's now, this manticore, this female manticore, is now taking a step back away from you, almost attempting to sort of recede out of sight into the foliage. As you look behind you, the male manticore has already done so, is now disappeared. If you wish to turn back, you may. But past the stream of sorrows, and if you do manage that, well, whatever's left of you will most likely wander its way back here.
I might as well keep pressing. If they wanted us dead by now, they would have killed us. Or they would have jumped us.
No, he wants you dead. I'm more interested in seeing what you do alive.
Might
Well,
as well
how
keep
about
pressing.
you show us the way then? If you're so keen on being so hospitable.
Why, but we are already here. And as she disappears and you enter up to a small hedgerow, That is almost like a immaculate, pristine, well-trimmed, 3-foot low-lying hedge that seems to circle around a wonderfully, perfectly preserved doll's house single-storied cottage with a small, low-lying 2-foot gate under a little brambled archway that you stumble right into.
Somebody's been reading fairy tales.
It looks quite cozy.
Hmm.
A warm smell of fresh bread and hot stew wafts out through the window and meets all of the party's nostrils, immediately transforming and countering the dense, humid biome that you've just been traversing.
I would not eat anything we're offered.
I know, but it smells so good.
That's
Oh,
pre-
my stomach's rumbling.
that's precisely why I wouldn't eat it.
And at this point, the gate door opens, and as does the small cottage front door, almost like some kind of light maple wood. The small cylindrical eye hole flickers and shimmers for a second. Before the door, you hear an unlock from the inside as it swings open slowly, invitingly.
Hello, is this where we order bread, or is this where we become bread?
There is no one in the
Don't
doorway.
Oh, it's on
don't
towards
give
the
them more.
doorway.
Don't give them more ideas than they already have.
Me, we're in
Marla,
the fair.
I've not heard you if
Yeah.
you're speaking.
I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would assume turning into bread is probably not the worst way to go in this place.
I'll knock on the door and go, housekeeping!
Oh, it's been long overdue. Valdreth, is it? Please come join me.
Oh my.
What about me friends?
Oh, yes, many friends. Bring all of them. I have made room for all of you. As you crank your head into a room, this is a circular single room with a couple of alcoves off. The first thing you would sort of observe is this large, what you first think is a crocodile in the middle of the room, though it's curled around, and you realize its mouth is fixed wide open, and in the mouth is a large cauldron that is being supported by what you realize is the taxidermy body of a large crocolisk.
Oh wow.
A crockpot, if you will. The main feature of the
Okay.
room, this wonderfully large cauldron, is immediately subverted by this wonderfully elegant, long, what you would perhaps even recognize as almost looks like dwarven crafted dining table with large recognizable runes at either end, and just the largest spread of breads, berries, stew boiling. Just the smells of home overwhelm you. In the
Kitchen,
corner,
stone table.
in the corner with its back turned to you, is a slender looking, very disheveled, hunched over what you gather would be an old woman who turns with a great big smile on her face and gives a little curtsy in your general direction. Long flowing white hair and a right eye that is missing. She's about 6'5", though as you realize
Wow.
she is hunched over immensely in this single story building. Her head sort of just touching the top rafter parts of this wooden interior.
What do her ears look like? Are they pointy?
You cannot see her ears as they are hidden by her long mats of stray wild hair.
What colour are her eyes?
Her one eye is missing, and you can see a dark emerald as the other.
It's been quite a while since I've seen stonework like this. Not to mention that cattle. It's beautiful. Where did you get one?
Oh, this. Oh, I don't remember, to be honest. It was a gift long ago. Ooh. Yes, I actually think it was him. And she points out through the open window, and you sort of see a general pointing in the general direction of one of the statuesque floral structures.
Hmm.
But that
So,
was so long ago.
I would just like to do like a kind of introductory hello and like very politely tell her, Madam, we are most glad to be within your company. Thank you so much for accepting us and to your home and something like that. I don't know exactly how to phrase
Oh,
it, but she would know.
yes, of course. Apologies. And you realize she's sort of squared off in your general direction, paying no attention to the other three. However, as soon as you cross the threshold, it's almost like she immediately focused in on you, an eye glaring. You feel you're being looked through, yet looked up and down, all in a split second. And
Mhm,
you see this smile go to a frown, to a growl, to back to a smile, all instantaneously as you're saying this. And she says,
mhm.
ponders, and looks at you and says, I'm going to ask you one question, and that will decide whether I permit you entry. Please
Okay.
choose your words carefully. What was the last thing I ever said to you?
Knowledge check or something.
Uh, Even if you roll a natural 20, you have never met this creature before in your life.
Okay. Then nothingness?
Deceive.
Nothingness?
She just looks at you and says, I see. Well, for now, it is a great pleasure to meet you and make your trend. God, the DM's all over the place today. It is a great pleasure to
Yes.
meet you, my to-be slayer.
Hmm. My to-be slayer? Oh my God.
For now, you are my welcomed guest. And you get the sense like this passage over the door is like lifted as you cross the threshold. Although I will say, can you make an insight check on not necessarily her, but on the building? Okay.
8. Abysmal.
You are getting this recognizable smell. This is not changeling magic, but this is not dissimilar. You know, not just because it's the Fey realm, not just because this is a known magical creature, a denizen or a lord of this part of the land. You know more than normal. There is a huge amount of enchantment around you at present.
Mm-hmm.
As you all cross the threshold and take your seats at this large table, stools sat perfectly at the height to make the dwarves the same height as Lothar and Ariel. As the lady gives a little curtsy and says, Mary the Mad, they call me. I'm not so mad when you get to know me, though.
What can you please repeat what they call her?
Mary the Mad.
Ah, Mary the Mad. Okay. Thanks.
I will cast Detect Poison and Disease while we're sat at the table.
Okay. As you cast this, half of the items in this room light up to you magically as various concoctions of poison or disease, though none
come on.
on the table.
Raul, cred că îmi trebuie căști noi.
Oh, looks like the food's safe. Can we dig in?
You please don't wait for it to go cold.
Nu aud. Nu se aude nimic prin căști. Nu știu. Nu se aude nimic.
She's complaining about her
bread.
headphones.
Don't
She's
worry.
complaining about her headphones dying.
I've just server muted it, don't worry.
Sir Lothar would settle into his seat, comfortably, but he will not be touching any of the food.
Okay. I've unmuted, you know. You get this sort of knowing look as Mary looks into you and just says the words,
Okay.
You look to be in a bit of a pickle, dear. That's at Lothar.
That could mean quite a few things.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I missed
love
the last
pickles.
2 or 3 minutes. What kind of food are we being offered? What's happening?
No worries. If someone would like to clue the player in, I will take a quick drink.
We are at the very lavishly layered table of a hag.
Yes.
And Voldred told us all the lavish food in front of us is safe to eat.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And Lothar is poignantly not eating.
And I'm
Okay.
just digging and I'm getting the bread, dunking it in the soup, just eating away.
Voldreth, I would like you to make an insight check. Sorry, a history check, actually. A history check.
What about Torb? You also eating?
No, not yet.
Voldreth, on a 12, you have never, to your memory, tasted softer, warmer bread. You've never had a broth this perfect textured in your life, and that's all you've tried so far.
Oh, this rivals your food. Oh,
I will grab a piece of food and I will inspect and I will first sort of rub it on my hands or
What do you
smell
pick
at
up
it to
from
see.
this buffet of food before you? Breads, stews, you see some sliced meats, you see berries and bowls of fruit.
I'll grab
There's
some bread and I'll dip it in the soup and then I will sort of very faintly sort of smear a little bit of soup on my hand and slightly above my lip just to see if I get any sort of rash or reaction or a weird smell.
It's hot, and it burns your skin a little bit. But aside from that, with chef's hands, it bothers you not. Fine smell with
smells
hearty ingredients. I would probably say with your culinary knowledge, you can smell garlic, onion, ginger, thyme, rosemary, and a little bit of paprika.
Is this made with herbs native to this place?
There's some, yes, some were borrowed from your noticeable homelands. I thought it nice to make you feel at home from home in the land far from home.
How would one such as you come to obtain what would be commonly from my homeland? I assume garlic.
Yeah.
Where would one obtain garlic here, or is that from
Well,
my place.
would you like some? Name me something from your homeland, and I will have it here for you. Did I not guess
Wonderful.
correctly?
I'll give you a little challenge.
Ooh.
What about rock salt?
I see. Oh, I do like games. Ooh. And like where you first had two small hands, you can see protruding out from the waist underneath are two more hands that also grasp and do like a rubbing action together. I do say, when I win, what do I receive from you? As you obviously receive the rock salt, the dwarf rock salt that you are so requesting.
Oh, I'm not requesting any. I just wonder where one such as one of your stature would be able to get this, if you even know what it is.
Well, if it's not in
So
my
with this,
pantry, I will just pluck it from the material plane.
how
Or
would
pluck
you
it from
go
your
back
pantry
to the
back
material
home.
plane from here?
I see. Very well. This one is on the house then. However, I am not really just here for parlor tricks, nor are you. And you watch as the two hands at the bottom of her midriff just work some kind of spell. She doesn't say anything, but you can see she's clearly focused on it. And a small hole opens. It's like a purple, shimmering ball with a verdant green glow. And the two hands at the top sort of disappear into it, almost up to her shoulders. She sort of rummages around. Ah, yes. And then protruding out of this sphere, which then vaporizes, are two handfuls of fresh, like almost just plucked straight from the mountain, with stone, unpurified, unfiltered bundles of rock, with the most recognizable smell of dwarven rock salt, as she hands them both to you.
That's a pleasure. I will grab one. I will grab them and I will inspect them and I will I'll take the bread and I will dip it in the soup and I will sort of crumble a little bit on top of it and I will indulge. Oh, home.
I told you it was good.
Oh.
Fresh from
It is
Earth, eh?
surreal. It is surreal how easy it is to satisfy two dwarfs.
Hey, we sit up high. Good food, good drinks.
Well, she looks to
Chef's
you.
kiss here.
She looks and turns around and says, almost like behind her hand, it's like, if they'd asked for stout, that would have been more of a challenge. However,
I've got a challenge for you.
oh, what's in it for
Can
me
you
if I
get?
succeed?
Uh, I'll clean the table for you.
Unfortunately, that won't be necessary. Perhaps something else you can think of.
Oh, you'll get to torment a human in the material plane.
No, anyone in particular?
So there's this barkeep at the Adventurers Guild. Can you nab a coffee off him?
Oh, I would need a name in blood to do something like that.
Oh, far. What's his name?
She cackles. Please do eat. Is it not to your liking? I could make something else. She turns to the cauldron expectantly, looking over in your way.
I am not hungry, my lady. I have had an ample breakfast, and a soldier knows how to keep his stomach in check.
Lies are not very courteous in the house of guests, or from guests to hospital arrangers.
I am not
He
lying,
speaks
my lady.
truth, human.
Oh man.
Are you not recently have said something along the lines, what was it? You haven't had a good, proper, hearty meal in... Oh, was it the Brass Keep that since you've been... Oh, the memory is a little quiet at that point.
That is true, but it doesn't mean I'm hungry. It doesn't mean I didn't eat.
When was the last you ate to your fill on food that you enjoyed?
A while ago.
Therefore, you can enjoy now for free at my request.
You will
It would
you
be
will
rude
excuse
not to.
an you will excuse an old soldier's habits. I'm sure you understand and have met your share of our kind.
But you will need a full stomach before you leave.
Why?
Well, it will be weeks before you return to your little material realm. Or, oh, I'm sorry, we shouldn't be destroying the futures. Revealing the stories before they've happened. Oh, I'm so sorry, so sorry. No,
Why are we here, my lady?
you came looking for me, did you not?
We actually came looking for some.
Tease! And
Mm.
like an umbrella just as you see dangling, almost like an wardrobe hanger section. 4 fine red cloaks.
Yeah, those.
That's the
Those.
cloaks that Phineas was talking about.
Yes, and
I'll take the cloak.
she places them out of your reach, hanging up over. And bear in mind, she's not moved from the cauldron. Her arm seems to just extend out towards where the window is, and hangs them on the frame, letting them air and dangle. And then pulls her arm
But
back.
to our knowledge, there were 6, not 4.
Well, one of them was a little bit damaged.
And the 6th?
There were 5 on the hook.
Ah, okay, 5 on the hook. Okay.
May we inquire as to what happened to them? Did they
Well,
misbehave in your land?
on the contrary, the Dusk Weavers found them before I did.
Duskweavers.
Sorry, the Dusk Watchers. DM error there.
Duskwatchers. Oh, yes. Well, that would be all we need to know for our employer, Torburn, right? His men are dead. Whoever's prowling the woods got them.
Is that
What
enough?
would... What else have we been contracted for? Not going to fight a guerrilla war for the man for 200 gold coins. And without men.
Weren't we told to get dog tags?
Any sort of proof will work. If the tags were taken as a trophy by those Dusk Watchers, do you want to go hunting after rangers in their own land?
Bingo. And now you know the path before you. Eat up, you'll need your strength, man.
I don't assume we could maybe borrow or take or maybe trade those cloaks that you have.
You see, what that kind of boils down to is more of what we would call a bargain. I have
You want
something
something?
that you need. You have something that I need. And together there will be an exchange. Or forgive me if I'm teaching you to suck eggs at this moment. I just know you're all, well, mostly not really familiar with how things are done around here.
What could we possibly have that one of status and power, such as yourself, with land of her own, could possibly need from us.
Oh, my sweet man. And a finger curls across the table and hesitates just before your face before very gently touching you and stroking your cheek before withdrawing. In an effort very clear to not be antagonistic, but very much flirty.
Oh my god.
As she says to you, time.
I'm not sure I have, even in my best capacity, would have much time to give you.
On the contrary.
My dwarven friends might. How much does your kind live, Torbran?
Oh,
Take
you
a hint, human. She's flirting with you.
misunderstand me, my boy. The time at which you entered this realm will be the same in which you leave. So here you have all the time to give me.
Well, that makes just as much sense as it made the first time. So, I am not a very clever
How-
specimen of my species, and I
How
would
would we
request that you
spend
speak more plainly.
this time?
Go again.
What?
Say again.
How would we spend this time?
It would be partly up to you, partly up to me. I have a few errands that could be run, and a few favors to be dealt, a few eggs to crack, and a few bushes to harvest, a few pets to feed, a few gardens to tend to, a few games to be had. And she looks sort of more maniacally at the lot of you. A few debts
I'm
to
going to
settle.
raise. I'm going to raise an eyebrow at Ariel because Lothar has no idea what any of this is about.
Ariel is pretty freaked out by dealing. She's just trying not to say anything that will trigger the hag. So she's just like kind of defensive. She's obviously not the target of her right now. She didn't insist that she would eat, so she just thinks being quiet is the best for now. But she's freaked out. Scared.
I will perhaps pose a question. Perhaps it would be too unfair to identify if there was a smartest amongst all of you, so I will permit all of you to attempt to answer. If you can solve my riddle in this game, perhaps that will be all the time I will take. Though feel free to enjoy seconds or the desserts menu whilst you mull it over. Or would you
Does
like some
she
of the quackers?
does she seem powerful at face value?
She is a very thin, gaunt-looking,
I know,
6'5" granny figure with 4
but
arms.
she also just spawned an orb which drew out rock salt.
So what
Yeah,
do you think?
exactly.
Sure.
And
She
lives in
doesn't
a
I'm just
house
look.
gonna.
that
She doesn't look like she's got much strength or dex stat.
Which she doesn't need anyway. She's got her casting stat.
Hmm.
Well, whilst you mull that over, I think a change of scenery might be best. And she holds her hand up, closes her eyes, and clicks her
While she does
fingers.
that, before she clicks her finger, I will quickly grab a bowl of soup and a piece of bread in my hand, and I will hold it.
And you're what? Sorry.
He'll
A,
hold
a
it.
piece of bread and a bowl of soup, and I will hold that before she clicks her finger.
Okay. You feel a large rumbling, a shaking, and then the sense of elevation, like you're on an elevator.
Mm-hmm.
It's rather a sudden, but just as fast as it starts, it stops. And you then begin to hear outside immense, heavy footfalls. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't really feel anything other than the heavy vibration. But as you look out the window, you are moving, and you are now at the tops of the trees. More footfalls, more placements. The hag's eyes still closed, as Mary seems to be almost like guiding, or perhaps even driving. And she says, "Ah, yes, here we are. Down." And you... My apologies. I didn't see the stone there, as the house is on a slight incline before it levels off. As you look out the window behind you now, you're in an open field.
How does the sky look out the window?
Still the same verdant blue, purple, with a little bit of a twing of a green.
So, what is it exactly that you require of us?
Well, require or would like. Which is it?
I'm not blind to the fact that we are foreigners in a land we do not know, that we have not mapped, and we have just changed locations. So, I am not blind to how much we are at your mercy currently, my lady.
You remind me of a Mediterranean I dated once. So timid, and such an annoying catchphrase. It was part of his charm. It was pasta la vista, baby. Oh, it made me so happy every time. But he was always so down to the point. A bit like you, and she sort of leans her neck across the table, though her body doesn't move. I would say at this point, don't go breaking my heart. However, I think you would do it anyway. So I won't make you do anything you don't wish to not do. However, there is an unsettling presence in my garden, and I would like someone to take a look at it for me. Do you think you all would be up to the task? As she looks, her single eye oogling all of you.
Pretty sure it's in line with the kind of occupational hazards we deal with.
Very good, very good. I thought you would say something like that. Perhaps a shorter answer, like, yes, that would be fine, or sure thing, why not? But I suppose I will accept that as equal. There has been an uninvited guest upon my lands, one that I would rather not speak to in person, though I wish to convey a message to. If you transfer this message, then you will take their response and return back to me, and I shall return to you one of these cloaks.
I will try to persuade her. You know,
This is
back in
actually
my
Sir
land,
Lothar laughing.
back in my land, if a message with true meaning is to be conveyed, generally the best course of action is to not send a messenger, but deliver that message yourself, preferably with a gift of some sort. And looking at this gorgeous kettle and this amazing arrangement of lovely food that you have here, why not join us? Or why haven't you done this yourself?
I've been very busy, as you can see, as she presents you the table in front of you. What is it
Well,
to be? The riddle? The errand? Or perhaps you volunteered to become part of the household? I wouldn't stop you.
So, a lady in the middle of the lake hands the knight's errand a quest.
Oh, no, no, no. No, that lake was more of a deterrent, you see. It keeps bad things out. I wouldn't
If I were a
go
bard,
touching it, by the way.
thank you for the gracious advice. But it's an errand you require doing, and it's for the cost of something that we need. So, Torbrun, the client's requests are the client's requests, I would say. How likely is that person to kill the messenger? Just so we know who we're going to be talking to.
I
Kill,
agree.
no. Though the dwarf is onto something. A little bit more insightful than you look, aren't you?
Speak plainly.
But where would the fun in that be? Oh, look at the time, look at the time. And she sort of points up to a clock face, which you realize there's just stones in a 16 denoted diagram. And there's just a bird head that's just occasionally rotating. And as she says, look at the time, it just stops.
Time only flows and you don't think about it.
Well, since you don't want to deliver this message yourself, clearly there's some level of apprehension. I'd say it'd be fair to make us aware of this potential danger or hazard. Now, you wouldn't want your message to not be delivered. That's the whole point of delivering the message, correct?
Oh, yes, that's why I've chosen you lot. You look to have handled one of my. Hmm. Yes, it was you, wasn't it, who recently decorated his front and lower abdomen with more metal than he was expecting in a rapid
Well, don't go make
succession?
assumption right now. I didn't start the fight. We'd have to look at Mr. Eat 5 bowls of soup on my left here. However, what,
Ooh!
what followed was purely an act of self-defense after the partner of you retaliated.
Don't worry, he's already
Completely.
been scolded for inciting you. However, as we are now out of my lands, anything goes. Just keep an eye out for him. I've told him you're off limits on my realm. No, he will take that literally, I will tell you.
2 questions before we leave, since you are so against joining us in this what could be a lovely stroll. One, I've tried finding mushrooms and other things to eat because just like you, I love the culinary side of things.
A bowl of
However,
flavorful looking mushrooms just appears before you as she waves her hand.
I was wondering if I could forage things here, since where we previously were, I was strictly told not to touch anything.
Fey
Much
ingredients ought not to be taken without consent. I would have thought the good lady here would have taught you that already. Though you may have perhaps forgotten, I shall remind you once again, consent is important here in the realm of the Fae.
hence
Though you can choose to take what you are more powerful than, however the consequences will come. Sometimes dysentery, sometimes just a bad bowel movement, other times more mortal.
cool. So what's with the bowl of mushrooms?
Oh,
See,
these are from the pantry, my dear. Don't worry. They're all been cleaned and cleansed and waxed and waned, and they won't be crying anymore. Put to rest for at least 2 winters now.
and why are they here?
Well, because I knew one day you would come asking what would be the secret ingredient to make that gemstone drake broth so much more umami.
My eyes start to sort of shine, and I start to drool a little. Can I take these?
Of course.
Without hesitation, I will take my pan off and I will grab my backpack and I will just sort of empty it into my bag.
Oh my God.
And I
Much
believe
appreciated, lady.
there is a little bit more here, perhaps. And you can see that you see one hand, like at this point, one's on her hip, on the lower, and the other is sort of, or the right arm is, the upper right arm is just sort of like doing this kind of motion, this sort of hand intertwining, almost like a I'm thinking motion.
Mm-hmm.
But the lower left is
Mr.
sort of,
Burns.
yes, Mr. Burns. The
Yes.
lower right is on her hip, and the left one is slowly at her side. You can see the fingers sort of moving. Ariel, you would recognize this as potentially spellcasting U2 Voldreth.
Chromatic components, yeah.
Something along those lines. As she turns to you and just says, "There's perhaps more here than I first saw. Oh, very well. I do think I have a fresh pot for you. Though the question is, do you accept my task? And I shall give you that as a freebie, as thanks. Oh, sorry, of course. Forgive me. I forget you haven't asked the question yet.
Outside of your terrain, are this person or entity that you want us to relay this message to, does he also have followers or partners that are
His name is
equally
Yule.
Yule?
And she immediately is like, stern teacher. Yule has been a
No.
very naughty boy.
Does he utilize partners or familiars to track or keep an eye on his domain, similar to
He
how
has no
you do?
domain. And he's more of a pain in one's side or a thorn in one's cheek, a rustle in your bark, or a forgotten creek. Yule is a dryad of the wood, and he has taken something from me. You will send him this message, and she produces a small parchment and puts it. It's sealed, it's rolled, and it's on the desk in front of you, or the table in front of you. You will send him this message. He will read it and send you with a reply. You will return to me. All of this will be done before the next red moon.
And how long would that be?
Well, you can see at the moment that we are, of course, you are unfamiliar. We're currently in a lilac moon. The red moon follows before we have the verdant. And then we have the turquoise into the deep teal. And then the cycle completes. Effectively, a day.
Do you know, by any chance, precisely where we might find this Yule?
One moment.
Oh, he will find you. In fact,
Do we have
I
to
would
want?
dare say he's already been watching you as your odor does linger.
So we need but walk out the door, walk in a direction, and run into him, is what you're saying?
Well, once I leave, he will probably already be tripping over you or you tripping over him.
I understand.
No, you don't. Why
I
don't you
have.
be
Oh,
playing?
this sounds pretty. What'd you say? Yuleful. Oh, sorry.
Oh boy, well, perhaps. Oh, that was a good. Ooh. You see, I was going to be asking you. I am in need of some fresh comedians to make some new laughing stock. However, perhaps you might do instead. I'll keep that as an open-ended offer. That's secondary.
Hmm.
What about this riddle?
Oh, I forgot you would ask it here. Sure thing. Please, if you could think as she begins to pour you what you realize that now is an unmistakable smell of a coffee laced with an alcohol. She looks you in the eye and says, "What starts with T, ends with T, and is filled with tea?"
TTT.
We have all the time for you to think and dwell on it, though I will say, if you are unsuccessful in your venture, and you have not solved this riddle, the door will not open before you on your return.
Hmm.
But I expect a riddle once you receive my message. And we'll call that one even. And she turns to you, Ariel, and says, "By my account, that's 4 gifts to be reciprocated so far. As one was on the house, and I will too perhaps use this as leverage, so we'll keep it to 4. And you watch as above where you're sat, one of the arms goes up and over and pulls down what you just see as Ariel. You recognize this to be a lilac, flowing, viscous liquid in a transparent half-liter jar. You would recognize this to be Fey honey.
Okay.
The jar is dropped before you, Torbrun, and she says, "Consider this your down payment."
What is this exactly?
Oh, what you exactly came looking for.
Honey.
I will sort of jump my head to Ariel. I was like,
Honey. But be
hi.
careful.
What should I know about this honey, lady?
It goes particularly well with any fruit.
You can make tahuhu with it.
Hmm. I will. Is it sealed, or is it just like
It's
got
just
like a
corked.
cork?
It's just corked.
Okay. I will open the cork and I will just.
As you go to do so, she says, "Oh, please, Once uncorked, it spoils easily.
Yeah, leave it.
Noted.
I'll finish drinking the drink that she's poured, and then put it down and say,
I've got it.
I
A
see.
teapot.
Indeed. Smarter than you appear, although that is how you do present, is it not, you big deceiver, you? And she sort of scratches your chin underneath, sort of comically.
Hey, that's my ticklish spot. Can't do that.
I know all things. There's not many things that Mary misses, though many miss that Mary misses. Mess. So close. I missed the last bit up.
It.
Mary
It
doesn't
sounds
miss
good.
much. There we go. That's what I was going for.
It sounded quite on spot with everything else that's going on.
Well, we best be getting ready to deliver this message. Is there anything that we should know about this message? Anything inside the message that might upset the receiver?
Don't be too close when he opens the parchment.
You do like to keep things vague, don't you?
Oh, on the contrary, I like to be as clear as butter.
Butter
Say
is so
yellow.
clear.
Well, I don't see. Are the windows in the building?
Yeah.
I don't see your windows being made of butter.
Well, if they did, they'd melt in this heat, wouldn't they?
They'd also not be very clear.
Well, clean butter is as easy as clean windows. It just takes a little bit of elbow grease and a bit of effort and a bit of time and a hint of rosemary, Mary. And you realize at this point there is like roses intertwined in with the brickwork and woodwork in here, and a green plant that seems to be growing throughout. It says, "Oh yes, and before you ask, oh, is it this time you ask? Oh well, let's just jump ahead a little bit. We'll skip all of that out. That's fine. Seal. Oh, Ariel. Ariel.
Yes,
Yes, I see. Um, I have a separate errand for you.
of course.
This
What
is a
is it,
bit
my lady?
more permanent, if you
Mm,
choose to accept. I believe you are going to be the perfect custodian of such a creature who has found himself lost from lands of home, far, far away of his natural environment, a little bit lost and timid, though voracious as he is and vilely vulgar at times, he can be a bit of a handful. Though no bigger than a handful, he would be quite a lot of fun to witness and observe from afar. Would you mind taking care of something for me?
He smiles and just waits for a reply. Like, what is it?
Oh, Gottfried! And then just fluttering in from out the pantry is a small, fiendish red imp, no bigger than a hand.
Okay.
Circles around Mad Molly, Mad Mary, lands on her shoulder before she flicks it, and he lands on the table in front of you.
Do I know what this creature is? I don't think so.
This just looks like an imp.
This is what
It
my
just looks
cat is
like an
doing.
imp. Yeah, I don't like not associate it with something fiendish because she wouldn't really know very much about that. I don't think she'd see it as something weird.
No.
So yeah, sure.
Gottfried,
Come over. She'll reach out towards him, reach her hand towards him.
you can note that there's no mouth, and he sort of anxiously looks back at the the hag. He's like shaking his head, like clearly trying to say something, though with no mouth it's very
Oh.
difficult. He says, "You want to speak until you leave?" Slowly nods, flicks her hand, and you watch as this large, huge pair of lips just materializes on him as the skin unravels back, and a forked tongue immediately flushes out a small plumage of black smoke, and then just a coughing fit ensues as this little imp. Outrageous! I can't. The lips already sealed again, and the mouth is gone. She said, "I told you not a word until you leave." He looks up at you, and you just see like these big, like cat-like eyes that just sort of begin to tear up as if looking for like support or help in this endeavor. It's like, "Don't you dare be trying to deceive your new mistress. She will be far crueler than I." He immediately sort of turns those eyes into sort of like a frown and is part terrified. Scurries
Oh.
away to the edge of the table, away from you. "This is Gottfried. His former master was, well, little too devilish. But I made a fine spread of him."
Of the master?
"Yes, yes.
Ah,
Devil spread.
okay.
Well, it was more." And she gestures towards the fresh food in front of you.
Oh, that's a lot of devil.
"No, no, don't worry. It's been purified and cleansed away. Just more of his soul is lingering on. That's what I would retained. The rest of his body was just, a little bit of magic, a little bit of good seasoning. And, well, did it not taste good? Please tell me. I've been trying to
That's what
sell
the
it."
spice was in there. Oh,
It's all the bureaucracy.
Uh,
Yes, 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 the bureaucracy, the fine tape, the red tape, if you may. So I believe this is where you ask me what would be the punishment for not returning, though, and she looks at you, Ariel. You already know, and
mhm.
I trust you will update them as you leave. And the door opens, and she says, "I do believe, look at the time." And as you look back over at the clock, the bird has done like a 180. "Well, that was so many hours. I do." She gives a large inhale. Fresh time. So precious, yet so wasted and willfully wafted away by so many. I trust you will return.
You think I'm gonna leave those mushrooms here?
Oh no, you have those in your bag, and the honey is staying
No,
here.
the second batch of what?
The honey is the promissory note. In fact, I will ask you. You can either take the honey or a cloak. The choice will be yours when you return.
An extra cloak.
To be decided, shall we say. Thank you very much. And you get the sense that your
I
welcome is now being rescinded.
I'll bow and then just pick up another like a bit of bread to take with me.
Very much.
I'll reach my hand towards Godfried so it comes with me.
Okay.
I
It like instinctively is a little bit timid before it gets flicked on the arse and it just disappears in a ball of smoke, and you feel some scratching on your right shoulder, and you look down and he's there perching.
Oh, okay. She'll
well, I will thank you.
say her goodbyes and go outside, waiting to be alone with her party.
Lothar would follow almost boltingly.
Thank you for the food, lady.
Voldreth, as you're about to leave,
Yeah.
just for my sake, when the time comes, turn left. I'll see you soon.
When the time comes, turn left.
The door closes on your exit, and at this point, you all hear on the inside a click of the fingers as you sort of instinctively know to take step backs. You watch as 4 huge, woolly, swamp vine encrusted legs protrude out from underneath the house 20, 30, 40, 50 feet in height as the house is elevated and begins to walk back into the foliage of the jungle line, disappearing amongst the trees.
Ariel, what
That
in the hells above and below did we just get ourselves into?
Wasn't she just a nice lady?
that was
What a
extremely
meal!
abysmal. That was extremely abysmal. We owe her 4 gifts right now, so just and if we're going to do what she asks and she gives us the honey as well, that would be like 5. And you really shouldn't be that accepting of everything she gives you. It's really dangerous. I did say that though. Didn't I say that before we walked in?
Sounds to me like you're the leader. I can talk! 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 Hi!
Yes, of course you can talk. Hi.
Hi!
I will look down like, are you edible?
Oh God.
Are you as stupid as you look?
I will slowly sort of raise my barrel to his head.
Oh,
I'm not
No.
sure.
You
Am
need to
I?
be. It's been trapped.
What's
It's
this?
been.
And like he just
It,
disappears into a ball of smoke, appears on your handle. Gives you
Ah!
starts biting at the handle, the woodwork, at the filigree.
No! I will grab him and throw him away.
Okay, you
oh
grab him,
my.
throws 20 feet away as he lands on the floor. Dust cloud. A moment later,
I'll-
you feel some clinging at the back of your hair, Ariel.
Okay, I'm gonna reach my hand behind it and pick him up.
Gottfried is
You're
there.
you don't need to worry. We're gonna be friends. It's gonna be okay.
Oh, your
I'm
friends.
not
I know your
cooler than
friends.
she
Are
is.
these your friends? Are they my friends? Are you all my
Yes,
friends? Are we your friends?
we're all friends now.
Good. Now that's
For
settled. Who's
future
signing the contract?
reference, what
What?
contract?
Well, I'm a devil. I have a contract. You're going to keep me. I'm going to keep you. We're going to keep each other safe. Yes? This is the contract. Who's signing?
In
The,
Abyssal, I'll say no.
I
Abyssal,
will
you
not
say no.
You speak the
sign
tongue of the
any.
rival. You are dangerous.
I
I
don't have.
would not.
I don't know how to talk special to this guy. I'm just
I
gonna
would not.
explain that we don't need the contract. It's gonna be fine. We'll just keep each
Uh,
other safe.
I would not sign anything you produce until I
Ah,
have a cleric of the Golden Order read it 7-fold times to make sure I still wake up with my eyeballs intact.
I see. We will twice the length of the parchment we needed for your contract then. Anyone else?
who's that wood push?
Uh, I think her
Like
headphones
who's
just
that wood?
died again. Yeah, her
Oh.
headphones just went away again.
ليش فيها كاش ترى كنت وزاته
Oh no.
كم كركات
Interesting that the microphone
هاي
still works. I'll just say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, the microphone
Yeah.
still
All
works.
right, I'll take this moment to go to the toilet real quick.
No problem. Just take a 2-minute break then.
That has to be one of the best characters I've ever encountered. Ever.
Which one?
Mary the Mad.
Mary? You love Mary. Good.
And that riddle. Oh, my brain ticking.
I'm impressed you got that. That was quick. That was quick.
So, well, that means she'll only eat half our liver if we don't
Hello, can
deliver.
you hear
Hello.
Ha
me?
ha 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 ha.
Yeah, we can hear
I
you.
think you guys can hear me and I can't hear you, which is fucking amazing.
Can you hear
Um,
us? 1,
let
2,
me
1, 2,
try
1, 2, 1, 2.
with
No. Okay, so it's one way.
No.
What a shame.
Okay. Now I can hear you. What did you guys talk
Okay.
about?
1 2 1 2.
The
Yeah.
moment your headphones died, not much. Just taking up a couple of minutes break, so
Yeah,
Okay,
you
okay,
can
cool.
go
no
up.
problem.
I might change my headphones while I was going downstairs to get the other ones.
That's very nice of him.
Yes. I am gonna draw the cutest little red imp in the world to put on top of Ariel.
And he's gonna have the tiniest little short horns. That's my only
Yes,
request.
yes. They'll be really cute. They'll be like, rounded and really
Yes,
sweet
yeah.
looking, like a Disney imp.
Indeed. His name is
And
Gottfried.
you should
Gottfried,
put a speech bubble that says, "Don't bother with the fine print. It's all just babble anyway."
Yeah, we can do that.
What kind of creature
Although
is
I liked what Riggs came up with like contract. Are we gonna sign a contract? That was cute.
All right, we're all back. What were you saying, Pepine?
Is Godfrey an imp or a little
Yeah.
devil?
So it's got. I'll pop it in. I'll
Okay.
pop it in chat. The spelling is important. There you go. That's his name.
Hmm.
He got fried. I see. But
I'm
is
changing
he an
my
imp or
camera.
No
I'm
problem.
changing my speakers, but I can still hear you in the meantime, probably for a little longer.
No worries.
I started a new job.
Just a reminder, we are still recording. So
Yes, sorry, forgot.
don't worry. Don't
Did
worry.
you sign a contract?
Not yet with
I
this
had
one.
to.
That's what they all say.
so?
You
We're outside.
you are.
Are there any recognizable features in the distance? Mountains or the large tree I saw earlier? Anything?
As you would
That
turn to your
very-
right, you would see the large realm tree in the very distance. You get the sense you've traveled away from it.
Okay.
You can smell more of a salty breeze as the still humid landscape is not too far behind you. You've realized you've basically been dropped at the edge of a wooded clearing
Ooh.
on a open field. And as you look out, you can see a rolling hillscape with, off in the distance, what seems to be like some kind of lumbered, fallen group of trees, maybe a few hundred yards. Sorry, I keep saying yards. I've got yards in my head. Don't know why. A few thousand feet away from you, all downhill.
Wow.
So how likely is it that we got a task that it is going to be impossible to perform?
From
I
her?
don't think that's very likely.
Oh no. She wouldn't have given you something. She can't get anything of you. Oh, sorry. Was that not to me?
No,
Hey,
but it's okay. You are welcome to
you're free
give
to
your
answer
opinion.
at every time.
Well, it would really
as
help
long
if
as
we had a contract, because then I understand when I can and can't talk. It's that simple.
Yeah, but fake contracts don't work the same like you as your contract.
Mm, they can.
They can.
Yeah. You show me some paid terms and conditions, I can copy them, and now they'll be in a double contract.
devil can.
Is everything as
Man.
Take a closer look. And he produces a very small, almost insufferably delicate symbol of Torm from underneath his chainmail.
Oh, look, you found a relic. Is that supposed to scare me?
Oh, he's going to be back at one point,
Oh, yeah. And I'll be a pit lord by then.
He's still going to be and he's still going to be a god.
Yeah, well, be long in the depths of Avernus before he ever finds me.
His beef was never with your kind anyway. You're always reasonable.
You seem to be very knowing for someone who's very much a dead god worshipper, you know.
He's not
Dead
dead.
god worshipper.
More like absent.
Absent, dead, same thing to most people in this realm, and
You
that
know,
realm, and all the realms. Well, most realms.
the absent lord has a bad habit of coming back to his castle.
Yes. Speaking of coming back, is he with you? And he's pointing over your shoulder.
He turns around.
You see a small, probably 4, maybe 4.5 feet tall, two-hoofed, furred creature walking up to you with a small waistcoat on and a pocket monocle dangling on his right eye, and a small flap cap nesting between two furred ears that point outwards and are listening intently. Large, uh, I've forgotten the flipping name of the. What's a male doe? Deer. There we go.
Deer.
Deer-like ears. Ariel, you would recognize this to be a fawn.
Aww. They're very pretty.
Would that be you?
So this is a fawn. Be
Hmm.
nice.
So y'all seem to be a bit lost. He says, looking over
Look,
to you expectantly.
yeah, we're looking for a particular.
Ariel, you would feel a puff of smoke.
Puff of smoke
Yeah. You
from
look down
the
and
imp.
the imps disappeared.
Okay.
You wouldn't happen to be named Duel by any chance?
Well, seems like you know my name, but I don't know yours.
Yes, well. I'm not sure we should just hand out our names, so
I will
name
toss
us
him
what you.
the piece of parchment.
He sidesteps and lets it land on the floor. Do you throw things at strangers normally?
Forgive my friend's lack of decorum. That message is addressed to you from a Lady Mary who lives in a walking house.
Oh, good. You watch as he formulates a small, like, pinkish powder in his hand, and he just droops it onto the floor where the parchment is, and you just watch as it begins to just melt away whatever was there.
Oh well. That's our part done.
Yeah,
We were supposed to deliver the parchment. Parchment delivered. Whatever beef you have with the lady of the house is yours.
Oh,
Ariel, what now?
We were supposed to bring back a return answer piece of parchment, or
well, why didn't you say so? What was the question?
oh, that was in the parchment that you just
The
evaporated.
question was, what starts with T, ends with T, and is filled with T?
I see. Let me guess. She left you with that one and you can't figure it out? Ugh. Well,
I know the answer.
No, of course you do. You have the riddle. It would defeat the point if you know the answer or not.
Aren't you just awful at conversations?
I mean, I don't even know you, and you've stumbled into my home.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was more her house.
As messengers are prone to do. So I'm pretty sure a reply of I did not read your message, I do not care would suffice. Just something that is there to prove that we did our part of the bargain and delivered what we were here to deliver.
Sure. But knowing her, there would be a expected response. There would probably be a yes or no. So what do you think?
This ends badly either way, doesn't it?
Well, you just lost the message.
No, you tore up the message without reading it.
I haven't touched or received such message. And if you cannot convey
The
it to me, what kind of
semantics.
messenger are you?
Semantics. Back in my homeland, when a nobleman would do that
Oh, yes, please. Which
to a
homeland are you
letter,
from? It's clearly not of this realm, so where are you from?
absolutely. But since we obviously speak the same language for some reason, which means you speak common, you probably know where I'm from.
Well, firstly, we're talking in Sylvan.
Well, then the laws of this land make even less sense than they've made before.
Well,
What I was saying is, tearing up a message is a
I
statement in
see. And
itself.
he's just talking over you, being incredibly rude. And he says, oh, of course. So you ate at her table. She put the spell on you. Oh, you naive people. Oh, and you two dwarfs. Oh, are you looking for your friends?
Is he still speaking Sylvan at this point?
You're all hearing common.
I was promised honey.
Oh, one dwarf promised honey, one dwarf promised power, one dwarf promised riches, and who am I at this hour?
I was looking for me friends.
I just have like the cloak that I got given before we set off.
Who are wearing these?
Oh, yes, I do enjoy it. Fits me quite well. You can see he's wearing one. Although this one looks to be cut and scraped and bits missing, and loose chain damaged.
So did you kill that one or did you find him dead?
Oh, the cloak? I just found it on the floor, cast aside.
Can I insight, please?
Absolutely, make an insight check. He's full of shit.
So my little tattoo goes all purpley, and I'm gonna just basically Eldritch Blast him.
Okay, make an attack roll.
Oh
Surprise
my
round. Take two. Here we go. Gosh, on 11, you fire, but almost instinctively, this creature sort of looks up. You realize before he moves, one of the ears twitches at your direction, and then he moves almost instinctively.
Is this Trump's assassination?
He's lying. He killed the guy.
It doesn't matter. We are not here to. Forgive my friend. He's a little bit trigger happy today. Must have been something he ate. Must have been something he ate.
Hit!
Who is the coffee?
This is the second time!
I'm learning still.
Again.
I
Look.
have new headphones.
Hey, brilliant.
Again. We would
Are
just
all our combat gonna
appreciate.
start with I use Eldritch Blast? I feel like it's a trend already.
Very much so.
Lothar and Torbrin are currently trying to defuse the situation.
So
with our
you can make a
Eldritch
persuasion roll. I was going to say with advantage because the two of you are making valid comments, but unfortunately, you are at a disadvantage because the attack's a straight roll.
Where are you, Mr.
DC
Persuasion?
13.
Persuasion. Well,
Can I also try to persuasion? Saying something else, maybe?
what
Speaking in Sylvan?
What would Ariel like to do?
She would like to apologize first of all and say that we're not going to do that. We're not going to get violent here. Um, Persuasion. And also, I am so sorry we have come to your domain sort of via unpleasant means. I'm sorry that we were so taken with the hag, with Mary.
Oh, at least one of you has some manners. Yeah, he seems to be insulted by your aggressive actions, though doesn't seem to be taking any defensive posture.
I meant to miss. Don't you worry.
A warning shot, was it? A warning, yes. A warning that your ego or edge of your anger was being tempered, or lack of.
Oh, it's me brother's cloak. I'd like it back.
I see. And he seems to be looking at you. He's going to roll with advantage. Oh god, okay. Ah, your brother. Your brother's name was... I can check the inscription here.
Ah,
Yeah.
merciful heavens. Merciful heavens.
Oh, it might not be my brothers. They came here a while ago. Got
I
lost.
know.
I
All dwarves
see.
just look the same in those cloaks, don't they?
Ah, shall we perhaps cut to the chase? Look, you're here in my home. I'm here in my home. You've brought me a message from a woman who wants me dead on sight and expect me to reply?
Back home again, we have a saying, don't kill the messenger.
No, no, no. Here we too have the same setting. The same, like the Sylvan seems to be jumbling up. We too have the same message. Although I do believe you've not realized you're not the messengers, are you?
I will speak in Dwarvish and I will ask, what do you mean? And I will wait to see if he understands what I'm saying.
What do I mean? And all of you hear this question, what do I mean?
Okay.
I mean simply the fact that you are the offering.
Hey,
Offering.
Of peace.
Okay, so she sent you slaves? Unpaid labor? What exactly are we in that case?
No, that's what the others were, the ones we found, and he gestures at the cloak.
Hmm. Then what does that make us?
Trophies, or you're full of information that she thinks we could make use of. I
Hmm.
don't profess to read her mind. In fact, I don't even think she can read her own mind sometimes, but I do say you are in such a pickle, aren't you, to have walked straight over our magical boundaries and just nilly-willy ended up right in my front door. Well, you best follow me then, because there's nowhere else for you to go.
I will turn left and walk that way.
You are in an open field. There is a tree line behind you of the jungle, and you get the sense as he's turning a 180 and walking away from you, downhill towards the fallen trees. Left would put you back into the forest.
That's what the hag said, though.
Okay, you can. Voldreth takes a left turn and starts walking back the way whence you came.
Oh,
it's what she said to me.
He
it reached
probably meant
iron.
at a particular moment, though.
You get about 20 feet towards the trees before you walk into something that you can't see.
Well, it's not this way.
I didn't know you were a mime as well.
Oh,
Full of
yes.
surprise.
Let me, shall I? And he flickers his ears, runs his finger through them. and you watch as on that tree line, there's a particular reason why the trees all stop at the same uniform point. You realize materializing visibly in front of the trees is a solid dark black stone wall that's
Wow.
probably 30 feet tall.
Is it a magical? I guess it is. But like, is it made by wall of stone or is it just magical in nature?
It looks very much like a wall of stone, though it was just invisible a moment ago.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Might as
What
well
is-
follow him.
What is up with every creature here trying to hide their beautiful stonework?
Can I use my
no,
stone cunning on
the stone what?
stone cunning dwarf Rachel?
Sure. Link that for me in chat again. Make your history roll then.
Double your proficiency bonus.
So you
that's
rolled a
so-
2. Okay. But get that to
Yeah.
me a 7. Okay.
It would be a 10 total.
Yeah, 10 in total.
Is it 10 total?
Because that's without the yes, the
It
proficiency is
doubles.
free. It hasn't doubled it. So
Oh,
it's
I
10
see, I
total.
see. Okay, so 10 total. Right. So you would know this is no natural stone. That's what you would be able to deduce from this.
Oh, that's beautiful stone.
No, no, it's not natural.
As the fawn turns back to you and says, well, the camp's over here. I mean, you can stay in the prison land if you want all this time, but I still don't quite understand why she literally dropped you off inside. That's the bit I'm worried about. And he's almost talking to himself at this point.
Well, your guess is as good as any's. Clearly, we are not familiar here.
Is
I mean, with the peanut brain that just shoots Eldritch Blast into the
I'm
distance.
just wondering if there's any way we can help you against her.
Oh, you want to help me? Well, does he want to also help me? Or are you just going to shoot me with another excuse for a weapon?
Warning shot.
Yes, yes. Warning that you were thinking of doing something. I see. Quite loud thoughts for a
You
dwarf.
have to forgive my friends. They haven't been around the Fey realm before. They're trigger happy and itchy.
Oh, don't lump me in with peanut brain.
Now you say
It's very
so.
hard for someone of the material plane to identify anything around here. It's just foreign to them.
I see, I see. Well, the good madam has parked you with me, so I will at least treat you. I will overlook this act for now as a little bit trigger happy. That is your only exemption. Do you understand? And he's saying this to you.
I bow.
Please stop randomly tossing, murdering arrows at everything we meet in a land that we are foreign to.
I see. Right. Well, come along. Camp's just this way. And you watch as he begins to lead you downhill in a bit of a snaky pattern as you're arcing around this hillside.
Is he in front?
He is in front, yes.
I will go next to Volder and I will just sort of whisper, this is the moment where you would normally do this.
I'll whisper, going,
I'm not a skilled ranger like you. I've read from a book. That's it.
Oh god.
As he's marching, you can see in his little waistcoat, and he's got this little flaps at the back, bouncing in with his interesting walk that he's got. It's more of a bounce rather than a walk. As
It sounds
he,
like the guy in Narnia that they
Pretty-
meet right when they
Mr.
cross.
Tumnus, yep, very much inspired.
Mr. Tumnus, yeah.
As he
So
meanders on, touching the grass, bit of high chaff, bit of rufts of flowers every now and again, this meadow himself, it is slowly getting shorter, and you realize you're entering onto what is cultivated ground. And as you turn the bend of this hill, you get a sight of a coastline, of the wild seas roaring off deep onto the horizon. Though before you, you can see this hill unfurls its greatest secret of the largest excavation any of you have ever seen firsthand. The entire side of this hill is currently either absent or being cored into or being attacked, basically. And you can see rows and rows and rows in 10, 20, 30 vertical different tiers of structure of individuals, dwarves, gnomes, humans, creatures and fae, all walks of life, working, hauling, swinging pickaxes. Though as you hear this, you would expect such a large amount of activity, not a sound is being made. And as you walk by, Yule turns to you all and says, well, you can grab a pick and you can join in. It'll be that simple.
hmm.
Why
So
are you
that's it.
doing this?
Why am I
Sorry,
doing
you
this?
can go ahead. Yeah. You, all of you. Why? What's the point?
Me? I'm just following orders.
From who?
Okay. But there's
Doesn't
usually rhyme and reason behind orders.
No, not really. It's not for me to know.
At the point that we went in, they were excavating gold. And they were doing something with the gold.
Oh, I see. So they did get a batch out. Interesting. You're going to be more useful than I thought.
So what exactly did we walk into?
Oh. So let me get this straight. You come as part of the emissary group, looking for part of the emissary group, and then profess to know nothing of the emissary group.
I believe the word you're looking for is mercenaries. You know, the kind of mooks you just send out for menial tasks. Like bring back a rock, bring back a corpse. You don't need to know why. We're just paying you.
Oh, I see. Oh, well, that's very unfortunate then. But at least this is a very menial task, so you'll be well suited to it.
Hmm. Unfortunately, we are already bound to a different contract, which already has a subcontract attached to it. So we would appreciate very much
Oh,
if
there's
you could just.
nothing stopping you. Like, you can try and leave. That's entirely up to you, though.
Hmm.
Good luck getting over the parameters, and I would certainly say if you do, well, let's just say there's far worse things out there than there are in here.
Hmm. So what's this? Some sort of work camp? Prison work camp?
No, a debt center.
Debt
Every
center?
one of these, and he gestures to what you realize is several hundred individuals here. Every one of these is just earning back the time that they took by displacing stuff of the natural order without consent.
Do any of these people like have the same uniform as the miners did from the first camp?
Every single one of them.
I told you this is a messed up mining operation.
It
I
is.
told you it's best to just do away with it.
It's not our call, Ariel.
Why? We're adventurers. We're more skilled than the average person.
And what
Obviously, a
exactly were
way
we
to
supposed to do,
solve this.
Ariel?
Disrupt the operation.
Why?
Why not? It harms people. It kills people. It makes people lose their time, which is the most valuable resource anybody ever had.
Salotha just shakes his head a
It's
little
below
bit.
my pay grade.
Azul turns
That
to you and says, almost right. Though with the nature of how things are, and that spell that they have in their protection barrier, the way this works is more like eternal suffering. Not a
Hmm.
day will go by when they do cross that barrier again. However, they are earning back their lifetimes now in all but a split second from their perspective. Should they even remember any of it, though their bodies will feel it.
So they're mindlessly mining for you.
No, not for me. No, no.
Hmm. Whoever you represent.
No, I'm just part. And he says, oh, forgive me. Yes, okay. I am one of the Dusk Watchers. There are several of us.
Hmm.
Probably about 24, I would say. We do not sleep. We do not eat. We do not rest. We're always listening. We listen in the dark, watching, waiting. We are the thing that you fear in the night.
I have no beef with you.
No, no,
Neither do my
no.
companions.
No, 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 of course not. Don't worry. And there is no ill manner here. Please look, even some of them have a smile on their face. They know it is but tomorrow they will go home.
But will they?
Of
Ever?
course. Of course, it will be tomorrow when they get home. For it is today that they
Ah!
arrived.
For them.
Hmm. And will the tomorrow ever arrive?
Ah,
Even if it does, it won't be as if nothing has affected them. Their bodies will feel it. Time passes. You lose time. Again, it's the most valuable resource.
well, they are paying their
So,
debts.
How did they incur these debt?
As I said, they took what was not theirs.
so does the group that these people belong to actually have any sort of a lasting agreement with the Lord, or whatever passes for a lord of these lands, that allowed them to mine?
No, they're following out the instructions that they got when they had here, when they left their wherever it is they've come from.
So what exactly? How does Mary fit into this picture?
I am none the wiser, though I will say this. Past dealings with my ex have been always complicated. She
Our version of
always
that.
did like to mess with, well, do you know why she's known as Madame Malice?
No.
Because she's a very kind-hearted, reasonable person.
She is the very meaning of malice.
That would have been my second guess.
Once the most beautiful Fey lady of the realm, one of the most respected most revered and venerated creatures of all the Feywilds. And but once she failed in her duty to protect the realm, and she strayed for but one evening. And you know what the gods did to her? Well, you've seen her now, although I doubt in her true form, but whatever facade she wished for you to see. They made her into what she is today. And now she will do anything she can to foil and intervene in their plans. So, why she has brought you to me? She clearly wishes to do some damage to the gods somehow. I do not foresee how, but
The Fey gods?
no, no, no. There's only one god of the Feywild. There are many
Right.
gods.
And how do multiple gods punish a single person?
Ah,
Mortals, at least, are sworn to one, so
it would be more a representation. If one has done it, therefore the whole family is bad. A rotten apple sours a whole barrel.
it's faulty in this case because the gods aren't a single family. Some of them hate each other more than mortals would be able to hate an enemy
Sounds like a
of
very
their own.
powerful family to me.
Only in as much as a kingdom is a family,
Who do you
or
hate
two
more,
kingdoms are.
but yet would go and fight to or give up your life to protect? The same? A sibling, perhaps, that you have? A loved one? Family. Whether it be found or birth, it doesn't matter. One and the same.
This is exactly what brought about the ruination. This precise attitude has ruined and marred my world beyond recognition. The idea that everything above us means us harm, and the idea that we do not have to have lords above us. Everything that has made my world worth living in was sacrificed on the altar of the lie that powerful beings, mortals or otherwise, only need one master, themselves. So excuse me if I would not take part of another vendetta against the gods.
Oh, by all
I would.
means. I have no ill against them. The lady who dropped you off here does, evidently. Although I don't quite know her intent. This puzzles me. He scratches his furrowed brow. A bit of fluff comes out from his chin, and now almost has like a bit of a billy goat ruff.
We just want to collect 6 cloaks and be off and tell the morons running whatever operation they're running here that it's idiotic and that they should abandon it before they make things worse.
They won't. Money is too big of a power in the material realm, and you know it.
Well, at least they will have been forewarned, and I would have done what I promised to do.
Would you happen to know or have any residium?
This word causes Yule to change his posture, though you immediately observe he attempts to play it off as something else. How come you know by that name?
That is, as of right now, none of your concern. However, am I correct that it is in your interest to prevent things being taken without consent?
Indeed.
I might be able to leverage Residium towards that goal.
Choose your next words very carefully. And he steps forward and in one stride closes the distance to you and gets very up in your face, and you can just feel the warmth from his nostrils. If you are in the possession or know of the location of any residuum that ought be in this realm that is not here, you will tell me this with your next breath. Or it will be your last. And I think we'll end tonight's session there.
Nice.
Okay.